Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel here. It's the Mac, and welcome back to a new Let's Play or a showcase of Fields of Glory 2 by Byzantine Games, I think, and released through Slytherin and Matrix Games. So, yeah, Fields of Glory, man. Kind of different than I usually showcase on the channel here, but it's a game that I've really played a lot off camera. I mean, wow, it's a great game, this. Many of you guys probably know it, tried it out, played it, but we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into this game, man, because this is a really good game for tactical warfare. Way back. This is not World War I or World War II or anything, or modern day. This is ancient history, man. So, Field of Glory. I mean, yeah, so this game, I think, is from the beginning was actually like a tabletop game or a board game, basically, that you play with cards. I haven't played it myself, but I did a little bit of research about it, and I saw that it was actually an old game that started off like that. And then there's been a few computer games incorporated, versions of this game. I think there was one really old one in the 90s from Microprose or something, and there is one that came later on. It's actually still on Matrix Games website. You can still buy the Fields of Glory 1, so to speak. And I think back in 2017 they actually released this Fields of Glory 2. It's a huge popular game. I mean, it's a huge game, and many people play this and love it because it's very kind of easy to get into. It's a bit like chess, basically. It's kind of easy to learn the rules, but it's like really hard to master it. Wow, it's a tough game, and I got to tell you, the AI in this game is really tough, man. I mean, wow, they really made a good job on the AI here because it's tough. I still haven't played this game versus a human opponent. I definitely will. I mean, I definitely will play this and try it out versus a human opponent. But even playing against a computer, man, wow, that is a challenge. I mean, wow. So, that's what the game looks like when you open it up. And, yeah, so there is the tutorial, which everybody who starts off with this game should play. Okay, maybe I accidentally started it now. I'm not sure. I've actually played this. Okay, yeah, so it goes like this. They've got 3 different tutorials here. Okay, so one thing about this game is that if you don't know like history, ancient history and stuff, you're going to be have no idea what the hell is going on. My knowledge is pretty okay, but still lacking. I mean, there's a lot of history to take in here, and everybody knows about the Roman Empire, of course. It's one of the most written about things in history, about the Romans, the legions, and the conquest of basically the whole Europe, modern day Europe, Northern Africa, way into the Middle East and Asia here. They actually came about up here somewhere, and that's where they were. And then they had it was a pretty massive kingdom, empire. So the Romans everybody knows about, but then you probably know some of the famous, like the Carthaginians. They fought big wars against them. Ancient Greek and the sort of Greek empires here. I mean, it's a very fascinating history here. It's basically like playing John Tiller games. it's a history lesson. I mean, for every different factions you play and everything you look up, you sort of do research about it and you learn something new. That's how I play it, anyways. Okay, so they got like 3 tutorial scenarios here. They got Britain 54 BC here. So that's when the Romans actually started to conquer Britain there, fighting the British. I mean, the Britannians, you have to call them, the ancient British. So this is pretty cool. During Caesar's second invasion of Britain, 54 BC, a force of Cantiaci engaged a Roman detachment under Marcus Quintus Rufus. You are Caratorix, leader of the Cantiaci. So you're actually playing the barbarians here, basically, fighting the Romans. You have a Sicily, pretty big jumps here, 277 BC, so this is like over 200 years earlier, when the Pyrrhic and the Carthaginians, they fought over Sicily there. This Pyrrhic guy, King Pyrrhus of Epirus, he was sort of a famous person in history. He actually challenged the Romans, and there was actually 3 wars from Pyrrhus, the King Pyrrhus. That he didn't wage all the wars, but there was like wars. Maybe he did. I'm not remember. What does it say here? In 278 BC, the Greek cities of Sicily asked King Pyrrhus of Epirus to come and drive the Carthaginians out of Sicily. Yeah, so they were allies, abandoning his war against the Romans in the southern Italy. Yeah, so he was already there fighting. He landed in Sicily and relieved the Carthaginian siege of Syracuse. It's now 277, and Pyrrhus is advancing to engage the Carthaginians in central Sicily. Yeah, so they fought. You are King Pyrrhus. And then they have something, Italy, 218 BC there. The Carthaginians, when the big enemies of Rome, massive battles. Everybody knows of Hannibal as he crossed through Spain and the Alps, and he sort of went into Italy proper here, and there was many years of war and carnage here. And finally he was defeated basically, and the Romans came and they sort of destroyed the Carthaginian Empire for good. So here you play Hannibal, the leader of Carthaginians there. So they have those really good tutorials. You definitely should play them, and they sort of have tool tips, I guess, when you play them. You don't follow any text or anything from like documentation. It's all in there. Really good ones to play. So those, you should definitely do those before you dive into the game, because you learn a lot. Right, then they got battles. This is probably where most people are going to be. Fight now. It's just, if you click this, you're just going to go straight into a fight. Something's going to be generated from, I guess, I have all the DLCs. We're going to have a look at the DLCs later on as well, because there's the base game and there's about 5 DLCs that was released to this game, spanning the time period quite dramatically. I think it's covering a total of about 1600 years. I think it starts in the 600 something BC and goes all the way up to 1040 AD, I think, maybe at the time where the Vikings were plundering and conquering England and all that, and the fall of the Roman Empire, the West and the East. So you got fight now. Just if you click that, you're just going to go straight into a battle. They're not big battles. They're sort of fast battles to play. I'm not sure if they always are actually historically correct. They could be. It'll be something from the period. You got quick battles. This is probably what we're going to be doing. So these are the modules here. You got Rise of Rome, Immortal Fire, Legions Triumphant, Age of Belisarius, Rise of Persia, and Wolves of the Gate. This is the last one they released. And then actually there is a Fields of Glory 2, Medieval. I do own that game as well. I still haven't played it, but I bought it at a sale. Definitely will try it, but I'm still working this game. And that's actually dealing with medieval warfare. So that's going to be fun as hell to play as well. Probably going to showcase that on the channel as well. Right, so they got these are all the modules, basically. So let's actually have a look at that before we do anything else. Right, so if you go into... It's kind of hard to keep track of because it's a lot of information, but the base game basically is covering the rise of Rome from 280 BC to 25 BC, and all that what happened there, basically from Rome being basically just a small territory in the city to the big empire it became, basically. So as you can see here, the Field of Glory is yes, turn-based tactical game. I haven't said that yet, but it's a real hardcore turn-based tactical game. It's really good. So it allows you to fight large, small battles against Rome or between the other nations who are yet unaware of the Roman threat, or what if battles between nations that never came into conflict historically. So that's cool. I think then they released the Immortal Fire, and Immortal Fire is it goes back. You can actually play battles all the way back from 550 BC. So you will start with So this one takes you back, 3 centuries, making your experience, among others, of the Persian Wars and the astonishing military exploits of Alexander the Great as well. You know, the Spartans, the Greeks, the Macedonians, all that good stuff is in here. Really a lot of fun stuff in there. And then I think they're like in reverse order. So then they released Legions Triumphant, and that is the war. It goes forwards 5 centuries to from the first Emperor Augustus until 476 A.D. So that's pretty cool. And then the age of Belisarius is from 407. It picks up from that and goes up to 600. So, and then they had Rise of Persia, which means they went back to 681 BC here. And this was the Wolves of the Gate. It goes up to 1040 AD. So it keeps going from the age of Belarius there. So really huge time span, man, of lots of cool stuff. All those empires and battles and factions. And there's tons of units in it. We're going to have a look at all that good stuff. It might as well. There's a manual to the game. That I bought this game on Steam. Matrix Games now have they've had it for a couple of years, I guess, releasing not all their games, but some of their games are actually available on Steam to buy. And GOG, I think, Good Old Games. Right, so the manual is good, man. It really, this is I don't think I couldn't find any more manuals for the different DLCs. Maybe they're embedded somewhere in these, in the files. I haven't checked that yet, but this is the core manual of the game. And it basically, most of the stuff it takes up here is actually from the core game, basically. So there's some really good historical stuff here to read. I mean, if you're not very familiar with this kind of warfare in this age, it's all here. I mean, some really good summarization, tells you how to install the game, and here, this is good, historical overview, so you know what happened basically. And of course you can do your own research, like books. They still exist. And of course YouTube or Google or whatever, you just look things up. There's tons of information out there. I need to do it from time to time because I mean, there's so much to keep track of in your head. You need to be basically a real historian to always know about these things. So many interesting aspects as warfare progressed. I mean, most people probably know about the phalanx, that big group of men with long pikes or spears packed together in tight formations, sort of like a hedgehog moving forward and sort of just, skewing through the enemies, smashing through them, pushing them off the battlefield while impaling them. So pretty cool stuff. So I mean, all that stuff is in here. You'll probably stumble upon units that you have absolutely no idea what the hell they are. You're going to have to Google it or look it up. But the Thurophoroi is something as well. Ixtosphoroi, these are the first sort of armored knights of the times. Well, they weren't knights, but they were armored soldiers. All that stuff. The cataphracts, war elephants, scythe chariots. Pyrrhus of Epirus, here's that guy again, second greatest general of all time, yep. So the Pyrrhic Wars takes up some really good, the Greek city-states there, so they take up a lot of good information here. The Carthaginians, all these major players of the era, the Spanish, the Moors, the Celts, so the Gauls there, ancient Britons. Yeah, all this good, it's all in the manual here. It's great stuff. I mean, there's so many variables to actually, pick battles in this game. It's insane. So the manual is really good. Definitely worth diving into. So let's get back to the game here. Right, yeah, so the quick battles here, you pick your sort of module that you have installed and you launch it, and you get to set up your quick battle. But you have more control quick battles than you have of the fight now. Fight now you don't have any. You just sort of jump straight into battle. You're given units and just duke it out basically. I think quick battles you don't get to buy your units as well, but you do get to pick forces. I mean, what kind of nation, what kind of war you want to fight in. The custom battle is what it is. It's just a custom battle. You can set up in quite detail what you want to, you know, your battle to be. So pot luck means that the computer will actually pick something and for the whole thing basically. You have scenarios, we're going to go into that. So for instance, if I wanted to not have the computer, I want to pick something, I get the whole thing from so yeah, well, you can actually put in the time span here. So this is the furthest back we can go, 1000 BC to 1300 AD apparently. So all that stuff is there, man. It is crazy. I mean, there's so much stuff here. You have the Persian Empire here. What does that mean? Hide unperched. Oh, okay, so okay, sort by east-west, sort by date. Okay, this is cool as well. This is like alphabetically, but if you do dates, you will start with some of the most early, like for the Arabs, the rise of the Arabs was 1000 BC to 313 BC. So what does it say? From about the start of the first millennium, early proto-Arab tribes, such as the Midiantes and Amalekites, started to use camels in warfare. All right. So if I were to choose that, they didn't have any allies apparently. An enemy would be, so you could, when on, enemy army lists are filtered by date, all right? And when on, enemy army lists are filtered geographically proximity. Okay, so you would have the closest enemies, I guess. So you could have like Arabs fighting Arabs, basically, like local tribes that duke it out or something, or kingdoms. Median. All right, so here you go. The median 836 to 627 BC. So if you were to choose that, did they have apparently they had some allies. All right, that's interesting. So this would probably be lots of text here, but this is what's great about the game. That there's actually some built-in, really good information about different historical assets, so to speak. So really good stuff that they actually put that in there. So sort of quick summarization of what the hell this means, and what this nation is, and what kind of leaders and what kind of war they waged. So pretty cool. You could set up really custom here. I guess they would be I think they only will. Yeah, so they will only. For instance, there will only be enemies here that they actually would have fought. So that's pretty cool. It's all there. If you turn this off, I think you get everything here. Yeah. So, I mean, they wouldn't be fighting the Vikings, you know. Then so this adds realism to it. So pretty cool stuff, huh? And yeah, they would have allies there. For instance, like that. Yeah, so you get scenarios. There's different kinds of scenarios. You get an open battle, which usually is the best. I mean, the most fun to play. You have two big armies duking it out. You can have that the enemy is going to get reinforcements during the fight. So you're probably the enemy forces will be smaller contingent on the battlefield. You're going to hurry it up, try to wipe them out before they get reinforcements. Or you start with a small force and get reinforcements. Send flank march. You have sent a detachment force on the flank march to try to outflank the surprised enemy. So sometime during the battle, your flank force will arrive and sort of make stage entrance to the battlefield there. Rear guard. This is pretty cool. Survival mode. The enemy are advancing with overwhelming force. You have been left in command of a rear guard, with orders to slow down the enemy advance to allow the rest of your army to escape. The enemy will arrive in several waves. You must hold out as many turns as possible. Sounds tough. Advance guard. Your army and the enemy army have blundered into each other on the march. Their main armies will not arrive before nightfall. You must make the best use of your advanced forces as they arrive to secure the battlefield before nightfall, whatever the cost. Each side will gain victory points for each unbroken unit it has on the enemy side of the battlefield between the marked flags each turn. Okay, I never tried this one. Non-light troops are worth twice as many VPs as light troops. The side with the most victory points at the end will be the win scenario. Okay, that's pretty cool. Remove the head. The enemy are led by a charismatic commander-in-chief. If you kill him, they should break. Of course, you also need to protect your commander-in-chief. That's pretty cool. Wow. Okay, I haven't seen these. These are really nice. Escort baggage train. This one I think I've tried. Your army is advancing through hostile territory. You must protect your baggage train at all costs. Otherwise, your army will be forced to withdraw. Your task is to get at least half of your baggage train safe to the far side of the map before nightfall, while avoiding defeat by enemy forces. Cool. All right, so here you can choose the size if you want to have this really small battle or a very large one there. Okay, so it's actually that I think that might be the recommended one, medium. I'm not sure why that's actually sort of there. Map type, you can choose what kind of how the terrain is going to look like. Potluck would probably be the best. Let the computer choose that. Force selection, you can either buy your own stuff or get the computer to buy it for you. And yeah, you have advanced options, so you can actually change the turn limits. So lots of customization here in the custom battle. Really good stuff. What else they got? Epic battles, yeah. So they do have included a lot of like historical real battles that actually took place, which is really cool as well. I haven't actually tried any of these. It'd be really fun to try one of them, some of these historical battles. I think they've gone into quite the length of detail in these and research what's available, I guess. So you have all kinds of different, from the different ads here, the modules. So if you'll take the Immortal Fire, for instance, there. So Persian kings and conquerors, a huge army stretching from the Iron Siege. It tells you lots of good Greece and Persia here. So they have, it's like sort of a summarization of the what the layout was. So if I launch that, for instance, there'll be a bunch of battles, then famous battles from that particular theater of war. So they have, wow, look at this. I mean, it's pretty cool. And there's like a big historical, there's some texts for every battle here. So here you have the Persians and the Lydians, the Greek and the Persians, Macedonians and the Greek and the Persians. They're in Indian. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so really cool. You can actually pick sides as well. That's what side to play. That's really cool as well. Yeah, so lots of good stuff, man. Rise of Rome, for instance. Yeah, so you have many famous battles here as well. Bagradas, the Carthaginian, many from Carthage and Rome. They had Cannae was a big one as well. Zama, Macedonian, Pontic. Yeah, look at this. Pompeian, Caesar. That was a civil war, I think. Wow, look at that. Cool stuff. Yeah, so lots of stuff. I wonder what they have from the Wolves at the Gate. Probably some good stuff. Not that many, but a few. From like 871 AD, Anglo-Saxon versus the Vikings, man. Yeah, the great heathen army, as they Yeah, this would be fun to play as well. Historical victors versus Saxons there, right? So that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, lots of game content here. Lots of game content. Right, let's go back. So that's the Empire. Yeah, this Empire Battles is, you can actually, if, there's a game called Field of Glory Empires. Never tried it, but apparently you can sort of play that and do your battles through Field of Glory, which sounds amazing. So gonna have to check that out, but it sounds really cool. Right, so, and then of course they got the campaigns, and these are really fun. These are sort of pre-generated campaigns that actually come with with all these add-ons. So they have there's a lot of campaigns here to play, and it's usually between 5 and 7 battles, and it's all historically. So this is actually a what if. So with Alexander the Great, what would have happened if Alexander the Great had recovered from his illness in Babylon? Yeah, so he died just when he had conquered that huge territory, and he had like the world at his feet, basically. So he died, and it was divided among his generals, and then they duked it out, and it was they couldn't get along, and that whole empire was sort of split up in different fractions. So it says surely he would have gone on to conquer the Western Mediterranean, or at least try. This what if campaign follows Alexander's conquest in the West, so that's pretty cool. And they had the whole Arab conquest there between 622 and 750 AD. Islamic Arab armies conquered first Arabia, then Sassanid Persian Empire, and the Levantine and North African provinces of the Byzantine Empire, and finally Visigoth Spain. The territories of the Caliphate then stretched from Spain to India. This campaign chronicles those conquests. Pretty cool. So they have lots. Julius Caesar there, as he was conquesting to his Julius Caesar's conquest, basically. Hannibal, cool stuff. Third century crisis there, and the wolves in the sea there. Yeah. So wow. Yeah. So these come. If you select this, the field. This actually makes you. I think you could start. You can generate your own campaign, basically, not the pre-generated ones. You can actually make your own sort of campaign here. So, for instance, I want to play. Well, let's just pick something. Let's take the Vikings, man. It's like the early Vikings there, 790 to 899 there. So it tells you here that they started to raid and sort of conquest. And the cool thing is you can actually preview your army options here. You can see what kind of units you would have available here. So we'll go into that as we play the game. But look at this. There's so many details here. They had mounted huskarls, light spears and swordsmen. They had these huskarls with spears, the shield wall, berserkers. Here's the shield wall, all right. Poorly armed rabble, light archers, yeah. What would I have fought, basically? So these were the ones that they could have engaged, I guess. You could put your, you would have, yeah, so these are the most Pictish. Painted or tattooed was the Roman name of the inhabitants of Scotland in the 3rd century AD. Their infantry carried small shields fought with spears. Scots, Irish, Slavs, Bretons. Yeah, cool. You can change the size of the battle there. How many battles you want to fight? I think you can have up to 15 battles. Wow. What does that mean? Campaign maybe involve local allies, but not attacks by other enemies. Campaign will only involve the main protagonist. Okay, so you can actually have that there will be allies among the troops. That's cool. All right. And as you can have the lowest is 3 there. Difficulty here. Very hard. I mean, I was struggling at Tribune. Now I'm actually playing at Legate. because I found that to be real challenging. I sometimes lose battles versus the computer here. I wonder what this would be probably impossible. I don't know. I think you need to be really good at the game to do that. Yeah, so this means that the progress through the campaign, if you take progressive, it means that this difficulty will actually go up as the campaign progresses. So yeah. So that's the campaigns, man. Yeah, I want to exit it. Yeah. Okay, so that's basically the core of the game. All you can do. So real good game, man. Really enjoying it. So we're going to do something here. If you saw something that you found interesting there that you want me to try out, please type in the comments and stuff. Otherwise, I'll just pick something that sort of interests me. But if you want to see something, I'll play it, definitely. So in the next part, we're actually going to go in and, play a battle. I'm not sure what to do. Campaign or just do battles? I'm not sure. I'm going to try and go through game mechanics and what to think of and stuff. There's lots of good YouTubers out there with this game in mind. There's so many good... so I'm just going to be one of those, I guess. I'm not that great of an expert, but I have mastered some parts of the game, I believe. So it'd be fun to do something and show it to you guys. So I'm going to end this video here, and the next part's going to be, we're going to go select something to play and dive into the actual gameplay there. So I want to thank you for watching, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you're going to be enjoying this Field of Glory 2 here by Matrix Games and Slytherin Software. So we're going to end it here, and I'll see you in the next part. Have a good one.